Good evening and welcome to this week's Fireside Readings. As all my royalties for the next year, from this December to next, will be going to the Canadian Cancer Society in memory of two characters actually found in Just a Stalemate, I will be once again reading from this book. In the weeks leading up to Christmas, I will also be reading some Christmas story excerpts to you. At breakfast the following morning, waffles with locally tapped maple syrup and 2 Sunnyside eggs each. Christine limped back and forth from the kitchen to their table on the porch. "May I help you at all, Miss Nelson?" Bob asked, feeling a little guilty. "Oh, bless yous, not at all, detective. If you're worried about me being a cripple, don't. I had polio when I was 4, so I've been like this most of my life. Plenty used to waiting on a couple folk at a time, but I appreciates the offer, I most surely do." And in memory of Annette's husband, Nelson McGill. Bob asked, "Was that his newish Rally Sport Camaro in the church parking lot? I'm pretty sure it isn't Clausen's." Bob looked suspiciously at his colleague. "So? It's not that expensive a car for a bachelor." "No, but I noticed the hideaway lights when I was walking past it, so I had a peek inside. Houndstooth seats. Got a gauge pack on the console. I'd say that's more than more." Christmas is a time for board games. Checkers and chess are very popular by the fireside, aren't they? This is just a stalemate, so chess has to come into it, as well as at least a double innuendo on the term stalemate. When the Reverend Clausen sat, he gestured at the checkered board. "Do you play at all?" "I'd like to fancy I'm not too bad at it." "I'd love a game sometime." "Lori and I play in our breaks from work, but sad to say she isn't much of a challenge for me. She usually lets me capture every one of her pawns and both her knights and rooks within the first 6 or 7 minutes." "We could play now, while we're talking if you like. It actually helps me structure my thoughts sometimes," Bob said. "Aha! Like Mrs. Christie's Poirot stacks his cards into towers?" "Précisément," returned Bob, with what he hoped was a Belgian accent. "I'll go to that unfinished cabin that they're calling Drury Jane. What kind of Dickens name is that, anyway? Drury Lane is an important street and theatre in London. As far back as Dickens' time and further, I believe he lived somewhere around there and used it in his books. Plus, I'm quite sure that Jane was Neville Hogarth's wife's name. So you know, Bob, as well as Celia, probably wanted to make this newest cabin in her honor, since they both would have known her. Celia is, in fact, an anagram for my friend Lisa, who just passed last week, and is one of the friends whose memory will be honored by the royalties going to the Canadian Cancer Society. So Flintwinch and Celia probably wanted to make this newest cabin in her honor, since they both would have known her. "Right. Well, I'll go down there, and I'll let Officer Bureau know what we found out this morning, and to be extra vigilant tonight. There's one more thing to do with unscrambling words and names, Jessica." "Yes, as I've said, I may have to verify with them, at least before Christmas. Verify with them or their families. But I will endeavor to do so in a short space of time, so as not to hold up this investigation any longer than necessary. I gather from Celia that you've asked everyone to remain here for the next several days, and the storms are coming."